Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, everyone. So, welcome to today's call. Myself and Reuel just decided that we're going to do a private call. Please note that everything that we're about to share with you today is not investment advice. It's just what we've experienced, what I've experienced over the last decade, especially going through the first financial crisis in 2008 and knowing what silver had done through there. I'm going to share my views and experience of what I've physically seen in the physical trading aspect. If I was in Hong Kong, by all means, I'll tell you I'm a registered broker, ready to rock and roll. But because I'm in South Africa, I can't give you any investment advice. So, because I'm not accredited in that regard. But the reality is that the world's economies are absolutely in turmoil, and I think when we look at what silver is doing currently, it is very, very, very exciting to know that we are able to hedge on a market well positioned to be the commodity that's going to absolutely go through the roof. When Reuel shows you what is put together in the next half an hour or so, it is absolutely going to blow your mind just to see where we could be sitting in the next couple of months. And for those of you that started investing with us back from May last year, or started buying silver, purchasing silver from May last year. I mean, if you look at a perfect hedge, if you look at some of the investments that some of you have bought, just on the rand collapsing, just on currencies collapsing, look at what money you've saved. If you're in South Africa right now and you bought silver last week, you would have saved over 37%. You would have hedged 37% of the loss that we've seen on the rand. So when I look at this, like, people always think that silver is a commodity that we just hedging against the US dollar on, and it is that the silver is hedged by the USD, but it's so much more than that. When we look at the value of money, and as currencies lose money, not only are you gaining on the silver value being held against the US dollar, but you're also winning against your currency devaluing. So I think I was chatting to Reuel earlier, and I think that in terms of value gained, I think it was just in the last 3-4 days of the last week. Those of you that bought when I asked you to buy last week, I mean, just in that little time frame, you're looking at what, a 15-17% hedge. So it's very exciting, but it's also a very, very scary time in the world. When we looked at the everything bubble that has officially burst, we knew that this economic crash or economic crisis was going to be roughly 4 times that than of 2008. And coronavirus, I think, has actually taken this thing to a whole nother level. Sorry, guys, I've got people calling me 24/7 here. But the reality is that we look at the crash, we look at this bubble, and it is truly scary. It is an absolute nightmare to look at and to watch. And the thing is, the coronavirus has had a massive impact, but we haven't seen the results of what this impact or what has happened currently, because we still have to have that 60-day, 90-day delay. I mean, I walked into to pick and pay earlier, and prices already gone up. Prices are skyrocketing up. I mean, you look at over 35% decrease in the rand value, prices are going to have to increase. And the thing is that for all of us that are prepared for this, it's okay, we'll make it. But for the average Joe on the street that's really battling out there, imagine all of our living costs going up by 1/3. Like, think about that for a second. Everything going up by 30%. Right now, your cost to live has just gone up by 30%. And it's gonna come through in the next 30, 60, 90 days. You're gonna start to see massive price increases. And we spoke about inflation and how the inflation will have an effect on us. But the problem is we had this bubble that's popped. Inflation is definitely gonna happen, but now it's really just gone into hyperdrive. I mean, myself and Reuel were looking at Venezuela and looking at Zimbabwe, and how the rands comparing to the 2000s, like when Zimbabwe started to crash. I mean, it is scary when you compare the data of what we have right now versus Zimbabwe. It looks identical. And so knowing that, it is a very, very scary time for us here in South Africa. But for the rest of the world, your major currencies like your US dollar, your euro, your British pound, um, a very interesting cycle is going to happen here. You see, because these are the major players in the world, you're going to find that the US dollar is going to strengthen, that the British pound is going to strengthen, that the euro is going to strengthen. But this is what they call deflation. And every time before a major crisis, we see the story of deflation happening where the stronger currencies get stronger, but only for a very, very short amount of time. And then they start to lose. And then hyperinflation starts to kick in, or inflation starts to kick in. And so we sitting here in third world countries are really on a double-edged sword at this moment in time. We are going to be combating our currency is devaluing faster against the US dollar, faster against the euro, faster against the British pound. But then we're going to get to a point where inflation is going to take over and things are going to get so out of control, like the rand going to 20, 21, 22, 23 rand to the dollar. And we're going to get to a point where we actually can't keep up with the devaluing of the currency here. So it is a very, very scary time. And the fact that majority of the businesses have closed in the country, majority of manufacturing, majority of everything. I mean, you know, just my family alone, like my brothers and sisters have all been affected. So I think this, what we're about to see is actually going to be devastating. I think it's going to be a lot worse than what we anticipate. I think the round is truly about to see its day, and major currencies are going to follow. And it's scary. We always spoke about the more that the banks print, the more that the Federal Reserve System, the central banks print, the less value that we get on the US dollar, the less value we get in all other currencies. I was looking at articles where America was printing like 83 billion US dollars, or so pumping like $83 billion a day into the US economy. And then we're just hearing about all these, Federal Reserve systems like starting to pump hundreds of millions or trillions of dollars across the world into, or the central banks are starting to just print money in order to pay for all the shortfalls we're about to go through. So, looking at it, I know it sounds like a jumbled mess, but the reality is the world is printing money. The Federal Reserve banks are printing money. And the more that they print for our countries, the more that they print for the major players, the value is going to be lost in the currencies. And we're just seeing South Africa being absolutely annihilated right now. But the value is going to continue to get lost as the world prints more money, as our country prints more money. We're not going to be able to have, our economy is just on a standstill. As worldwide, the economy just come to a standstill. So 2008 was bad, 2000 was bad, but I think this is truly going to be a reset of the world's economy. I can't even tell you how bad it's going to get, but I think it's going to get to a point where I think we're going to see a Venezuela type of a collapse here in third world countries. I really do feel it's going to get to that point. The rand's is going to continue to turn. These are my views and my expressions. I don't know what to say in terms of where we're going to go, but I do know that silver is going to be the one that's going to hedge against all of our loss in our currencies. So I would highly recommend everyone get onto as much hoarding of silver as that they can. The only problem is that the refineries have got completely shut. You can't buy silver throughout the Americas. You can't buy silver anywhere in the world, actually. I've got one more allocation left to me until the 20th of April, and then that allocation of silver is also going to be out until refineries come back online. But the reality is that silver is the perfect hedge. Reuel's going to show you some very, very interesting stats and data that is going to blow your mind. But just know and prepare for what's about to come. I think it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets better. I feel that this cycle of recession is going to be probably about 7 to 10 years. So it's going to be a very, very long haul for all of us. It's going to be a very, very difficult time. I think business, the dynamics of the world have changed altogether.
I think people have realized that um, traditional business, businesses where you have to pitch up to work and have to, physically be present. I, I think that through a crisis like this, we've actually seen the vulnerability of these sorts of industries. I know my brothers, my sisters, they've actually been laid off. And so, traditional business isn't the way of the future. And, we've been planting this for a decade now. Home-based businesses or online businesses is going to be the way of the future. Digital marketing is the way of the future. So I think as Silver Chief, we've been primed for this. Um, Remember when 2008 hit my family, it was something that devastated our entire life. And I mean, it was really something that I've been working with over the last 10 years to figure out how the system works. And so if you trust the ship, if you trust this business, and you understand what's going on, because everything we've spoken about over the last year has been the truth. Um, as soon as silver becomes available again at whatever price it is, whether it's $14 an ounce, $20 an ounce, whether that's peaked, or whether it's a premium price that you pay, hold as much of it as you can, because that's the only real value in this world is what the physical asset's going to be when the markets crash and crumble. I mean, every one of us that had South African rands in our bank account, we lost over 30% of that value, 37% of that value in 2 weeks. Guys, think about that for a second. Your value of your money in your bank accounts are depreciating, and like every day is getting worth less and less and less and less. So, real value, real currency is gold and silver. It has been the metals for that has been the only real value for the last 5,000, 8,000 years. And I would really suggest, and I would really drive everyone to get them as much money as they can into the metals. Like I said, the refineries are closed until the 20th. I've got one more allocation to me. I mean, this last 2 weeks, I've sold more millions than I could account with regards to silver. But for me, it's the only form of protection against the current economic system that we live in. Um, it's very difficult to explain to you how I see the things, how I see the world. But I just want everyone to be prepared for what's about to come. I foresee fuel shortages. I foresee supply of food shortages in the country. I foresee mass scale business foreclosures, not just in South Africa, worldwide. And it's seriously going to be a time, and the world's going to reset itself, but we're in a digital age now, so it might make things progress a lot faster. But if we understand that we can get ahead by investing into silver, or at least leveraging on precious metals, I think we're already one step ahead of the game. I know for myself, every cent that I have is in silver, and I truly believe that every one of you should also follow suit. You don't have to take my advice, but you see, when everyone's lost 37% of their money, I gained 37% of my money. If that makes sense to you guys in terms of a hedge on the rand. So from my side, prepare for the worst. Look after your families in this time, but it's going to be a good 7 to 10 year drought. There's going to be a 7 to 10 year run. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very, very long time for this crisis to pan out and play out. Which also means that if we look at the time frames of investment for silver, I think prices are going to start to skyrocket. But I think within the next 2 years or so, I think definitely between September this year and September next year, I think we're going to see silver prices absolutely break records. I think silver's going to go to prices that we last saw in the 70s and beyond. I think the correction ratio that's about to take place. I mean, I was looking at the correction ratio of gold and silver a couple of days ago, sitting at 123 ounces to 1. I mean, guys, we're talking about 10 to 12 times in our value on our investments in silver. But then think about it if you're hedging against the US dollar. I mean, in 1 week we've put 37% on our profits as silver investors. I mean, it's crazy. Obviously, you've got to minus the tax and the initial prices that we put on it. but man, like the world's falling, people are losing money, but the silver investors have just increased their value because of the devaluation of currencies against the US dollar. So it's a great hedge. It's a beautiful business, and it's definitely something that can protect you and your family long term. So for me, I'm definitely going to be holding silver till the next physical cycle, or like I will let you guys know when I'm pulling out of the silver markets in terms of selling and so on and so forth. But once again, I can't give you investment advice. I also just want to clear up one or two other things. I get asked a lot of questions. Um, how does the silver markets work? What happens in times of crisis like this? First thing we need to understand that there's paper value in silver, which is the paper value that is traded on the stocks, and then there's obviously the physical value. Being a diamond cutter, getting an evaluator, I understand this, and it's the exact same principle for metals. Is that in times of crisis or during normal times in the diamond industry, a diamond is only worth what someone is prepared to pay for it. And during times of crisis, I've seen massive bulk purchases of silver enter the market now. But it's very interesting is that some of the sellers are saying, right, make me an offer. Make me an offer. So we're in a very interesting time right now in the industry because people know that silver and gold is real value, and they know that it holds so much more value than what the paper says right now. And so, I mean, I've seen people buying silver at $26, $27 an ounce right now, where the paper value is only at $14 an ounce. And for me, it's not about the price of silver because we know silver is going to skyrocket. It's about how do you hedge your losing currency against something that's going to hold true value. That for me is what it comes down to. So I would even say to people, take a loss initially, even if it costs you more as a premium. Just get as much of it as you can because you will protect yourself against serious inflation that's going to come through from this. So whatever you can buy, buy. That's all I'm going to say to everyone in that regard. So how does the paper model work versus the physical model? You got to understand that the entire silver industry, the entire metals industry works on what we call a LMBA price, which is like the London Metals Bullion Exchange price, okay? And basically what this price is, that is the stock paper value of silver of the day. It's not the physical value, it is the paper value of silver. And basically what we see is that mines around the world only mine silver when the US dollar trades at roughly about 15.5 US to 1 ounce of silver. That is where silver companies are actually profitable in mining, plus minus. So what happens is that we're looking at a point now where no companies are mining silver, but we now have a paper price of $14.50. Okay, so we have this paper price of $14.50, but in order for us to get that to the market, there has to be costs incurred in order to get it from paper into the market. So what happens is that multiple things could happen. You could have mining companies go out there and mine at the cost of mining plus some commission. Or then if you're like in South Africa here, we have the refineries get their prices in at LMBA price. But then they have assaying costs and refining costs and smelting costs and minting costs. And so when it goes from the production of what the value of paper is into mining, into getting it into the refineries and then getting it to the mint and then to the dealers, there's a value added chain. Like there's a chain that it has to go through in order for us to get the final product. So when people tell me that they can buy silver at spot price from the markets, I don't really believe people. You can get it if someone wants to sell low and you can buy that spot, but from the refineries or licensed dealers across the world, you'll be very lucky if you came close to spot price. It just doesn't happen. I was looking at the US numbers right now. As I was saying, the paper value of silver is $14.50, but in the USA, you should be buying silver at about $24 to $27 an ounce. When I supplied all of you this last week, I bought silver in at about between 11 Rand 80 up to about 12 Rand 80, and I aggregated all of that. Sorry, $11.80 to $12.80, and I aggregated all of that. We came up to an average price of about $18.6 to 19 point odd dollars an ounce. So, so we are roughly paying anywhere, but bear in mind, I bought a lot of bulk. I bought millions worth of silver. You know, we came up about what $5 to $7 was $7 on top of the paper trading price. So the more I buy, the better the prices I get. But when we aggregate everything, we're probably looking at a range of about $5 to $7, especially in prime times. I mean, I know the refineries also blocked us at a certain point, like when the rand was crashing and the silver prices were crashing. I mean, they just held the price that they were still in profit with. So it's very difficult as a physical trader at this moment in time to give you guys exact prices on silver because it's so volatile. The dealers are holding prices. The refineries are scared to sell for losses. So it's a very intricate model, and it's not one that one can always predict. It's a model that is literally, I have to pick up a phone, speak to the dealers. I'm like, right, guys, I have 250,000 today, or I got 2.5 million today. What is the best price you can negotiate? And they get hold of the refinery, and they say, Bum, we can get spot plus 8%. I say, right, lock it in. Then the dealer puts on their 2%, 2.5%, and then it comes to us. But I remember, it's VAT on top of that plus VAT. It's like, so we have this additional cost before it gets to us. But the reality is that you will never get silver at spot price. But the refineries and dealers will always buy back your silver at spot price, because that's where they make the money, moving the commissions back or moving the silver back into the market. So it's a very interesting take. But once again, and I think we're going to see this more and more as time comes by in the next couple of months, is that the price of silver will be dependent on what people are willing to pay for it. And it's the same in the diamond sector. Like, diamonds are only as valuable as what someone perceives the value to be. And you must please understand that we are programmed as humans to see the oil price in the news. We are programmed to see the gold price in the news. We're programmed to see all these prices in front of us all the time, but that is only paper price. Trading value, physical commodities, is what people are prepared to pay today for it, and that number always fluctuates and varies. So I would say, going to this time, into this period that we're about to go through,
Brandon?
people are most certainly going to open and ask for premiums on their prices, and they're very starting to see it. So we should be expecting to pay, it could even be up to $10 additional to ounce. And it's just something that you have to understand that is going to happen during this course of time.
Can you guys hear me? I see people are saying I'm holding the microphone.
Yeah, you're holding the microphone and you sound like you're talking in a tin.
Sorry, can you?
You just take your hand away from the microphone and turn around facing the house. I think you'll get a better signal.
Okay, hold on. Let me just get in here. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. So yeah, so I was just saying, you know, like during these times, prices are going to be very, very, very unpredictable. You know, every day it's basically we got to call in, and during normal times, I mean, you know, it's very easy to go and mint 500 coins, 1,000 coins, 10,000 coins, but all the silver's been bought. You can't buy Krugerrands in South Africa right now. You can't buy American Eagles. You can't buy Canadian Maples. The world has consumed them. The investors has consumed them. The only thing that separates us from the world is that no one has caught on to the silver granule train. No one has caught on that the granules hold the most value. And this is where we sit as a company. And this is why I was still able to access all the silver when everyone else hasn't. So I'm waiting to hear from one of the refineries tomorrow if they're going to accept the package that I requested. It's a couple of million. And if I do, silver purchases are going to be open to the team. But for now, all silver purchases are closed until the 20th of April, unless I get notified that I can get the silver in tomorrow. So it's one of those things. Corona has shut down the world. But for you and I that have silver, for the world that's going to need silver, just know that we're going to do everything in our power to make sure when this sucker comes back online that we can, give you guys the best price, give you access to the silver we're looking for. And then also, it is my intention to expand into multiple countries and speak to the refineries there, because I truly feel Silver Chief Mint is going to bring in majority of the world's silver into the hands of our people. I mean, I saw this last week. We did over 0.5 ton in 1 week. In South Africa, there's only 46 tons a year produced. So, we're definitely going to have to be expanding to the world in order to take off these bulk purchases. So I'm very excited. I knew this was going to come. I just didn't know Corona was going to set this in play. But just know right now, you could be buying silver at $5 to $10 premium on what the trading price is. And that's purely because there's dealers in the game that have been around for 25 years, 28 years. It's monopolized in South Africa. There's 28 license holders. And we're not going to get around that. People are going to manipulate the markets, but it doesn't matter. Buy as much as you can, but just know there's the LMBA price, and there's cost of manufacturing, and there's the cost of getting the product into its final state. And then it goes to the dealers, and then we purchase it directly from the dealers, and it's vaulted to us. So if that makes sense, I just give you some insight into how I feel about the markets, give you some insight into how it's running. If there are any questions, please, ask away. And then I really want you to pay attention to what Reuel has to say. I mean, you're dealing with an individual here that's been physically trading on the paper value of markets for a very, very long time. He's shown me some stuff that has blown my mind and has correlated to everything that I know. And I really want you guys to see what the potential looks like for you, investing in silver, and then see what the future looks like, whether it's in 2 years, 4 years of holding. I just know that this crisis is going to be 7 to 10 years before it corrects. So Reuel, were there any questions that came through that I need to answer?
Yes, you can answer them while you're listening to me. Maybe then I can carry on so long.
Yeah. How do I find where the questions come through?
Just go onto the chat box and you'll see all of the questions. There's not many at the moment, but there are some.
All right, 100%. Wow, I've been talking for that long. Jeez. Okay, cool. I didn't realize that. Not like 20 minutes. All right, cool. You're gonna take over?
Yes. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate your input. Just to give you some background on myself, for those who don't know me, all my life I've been through PSP, policeman, salesman, pastor. And then after I was kicked out of the ministry as a pastor, I started building my own business, met my current wife, and I've been building a trading platform for the last 5 years. I've been teaching people how to trade mostly on cryptocurrencies. So I'm a professional trader by trade, and I've been teaching hundreds of traders countrywide, and my main market is now the international market, where I spend hours of the night teaching the Americans, and nice to see some of you online. But for the last 10 years, I have had an interest in silver because of silver's price and because of the value that it has. I mean, there's many South African coins that in 1966 that have got between 50 and 80% silver in them. So the coin value of those coins is way more than what they were worth the time that they came out. And I've been collecting kilograms of this silver for a long time, and there's been lots of different. Sorry, guys. my internet connection bombed out for a moment.
It's okay. We can hear you loud and clear now.
Great. So let me get my presentation back online. Right. So as a trader, I have had this interest in gold and silver, and every time I got involved in one of the two, there was no one that was actually networking or talking or discussing silver, but everyone was discussing gold. And if you look at the price of gold, and all the guys that are selling gold now are selling it way over the market price. I mean, 50%, 60, 70%, and then they just closed down overnight. And so what we did was, I just waited for the opportunity. And I said, when the day I met Brandon, I said, if you didn't start this business, I probably would have started at some stage. But Brandon has the background of network marketing and how a binary works, and he's worked out a perfect system in the network marketing structure. And what made me excited about this whole concept of silver is that it gives you one of two options. You can either just be a customer if you're too scared to talk to people, you don't want to network market, or option two is you want to network with it and you want to buy some silver through networking, telling your friends. Of course, I had a guy once who told me, I'm not a networker. And I said, every time you buy something from the shops, you talk and you like the product, you tell people about it. And so what has your return been on those products? And he said, nothing. So I said, well, you network all the time. You just haven't put a name to it yet. So let's get into this presentation. And some of the information here, as I said, is I actually just sent my presentation to Brandon before we started. And there's a picture of him in the middle, me on the right-hand side, and then there's the owner of Altcoin Trader. We went to the blockchain conference and we met a lot of interesting people, and one of them is always the guy from Altcoin Trader, Richard D'Souza. So we spent 2 days over there getting our minds blown away and meeting up with people that can help us with some of the projects. All right, so this is what's nice about silver. When you buy silver, it's yours, it's your asset. So that's the main thing. You own the asset. There's a lot of assets that you can own in the world, but they're probably digital assets. They're not the real value. I was told that if you buy gold, there's legally 100 certificates to every ounce of gold. So just imagine you buying gold and the first guy says he wants his gold. 99% of the people won't be able to retrieve their gold because there's 99 more certificates of ownership. So that is the exciting part of the silver, is that you get a certificate. The silver gets physically taken out, bought from the mint and taken to a vault and stored in your name. What made me very excited about silver is what Robert Kiyosaki, the king of property, says about silver. And of course, it's only the very wealthy people that can survive in economic crisis that are into property that can actually make it, because it's not a seller's market now, it's a renter's market. So here is the current status price on silver. You can see since 1999 right until the present price, and the present price is $14.38. Now, you heard Brandon talk about the paper price. So we're going to spend a bit of time explaining the difference between the real price and the paper price, and some of the aspects why you should be excited about this opportunity. So when we do trading, we look at certain trends, we look at certain market movements, and we can see how markets are moving. This trend that we see is making like a round form, and the price has just hit the bottom. Just a week, 2 weeks ago, hit the bottom price. So that was the best price to buy, obviously at the bottom price. The price came down from 2011, just before they took Gaddafi out. That was when the gold price also started dropping, and then there was a huge drop until the other day when it hit just around $12 an ounce. So what we do is, as traders, we close the cup. It's a cup and it makes a handle, and normally this is the trend that happens in the market following such a trend. So we're right in the bottom of the cup. If you had to take the gold graph now, and I didn't put a gold graph on because but the gold graph shows we're right up here in the gold price, and the gold price will make the dip when it's hit $2,000. So the gold price can still go up 20% and then it makes a dip. Whereas the silver price from 14 to 48 is like 4 times its value. But I'm going to show you some more exciting stuff that's been happening. So when you do a determination of where the price would go next after the price hitting the bottom, filling the cup and making that handle on the cup, the next movement is the same movement as you see over there. So what you would do is you would add on the same movement there, and it would go into the $75, $80 range. So imagine buying something at 14 and selling it at 80. All right, so, and it might take even a shorter time. I'm going to show you why I say that. So the bottom price is $14.38 and the top price is $77.54. So you might ask now, when are we going to get that price? First of all, it is very, very close by. Even though we've done this cup formation, we have a world economic crisis at the moment. And the economic crisis, there's guaranteed 95% of all assets that there are will drop in price. Even us trading Bitcoin, we found that Bitcoin also dropped 50% in price, while the stock markets fell at 35% in price. So it's only people that really know what they're doing, that understand the markets and prepare themselves to buy in at the right price, that will make money during this crisis. All right, so we have this pattern, and let's take a look at the rand. On the 1st of January 2020, the rand was at 13 Rand 94 in dollar to $1. Around the 27th, was it the 27th of March, we had the lockdown. The 27th of March, we were ranging around 17 Rand 25 to the dollar. We've since gone to 19 Rand and half a cent. So I expect that by next Friday or Monday the following week, we'll be by 21 Rand per dollar. Now that might mean nothing to you because you think you've got a salary and your salary is paying you. Guess what's going to happen when you go back into Dion is closed, Dion wired. If you go back to Incredible Connection or Matrix or Computer Mania and you go and buy a laptop now, you're going to pay 30% more for your laptop now than you paid before the lockdown. So this is the situation. I lived in Zimbabwe the best part of 5 years, on and off 6 months at a time. I saw the Zim dollar go from 1 Rand to $171 to 1 Rand to 3 billion Zim dollars to 1 Rand. No one ever thought that South Africa would follow the same pattern. Now, when a country's inflation starts rising like it did in South Africa, then the best thing to do is to find yourself getting yourself out of debt as quickly as possible, and then turning your spare assets into your spare cash into assets, so that you're investing in an appreciating market. So you're buying into something that's got a dollar value that's going up. So we've seen just this year 36.66% devaluation in the rand. So you're going to pay a third more for every item that's imported. Now just think of what items that we need that are not imported, and that's usually food, but it's going to have an effect on the food market also. The only thing that's really come down is the petrol price because of the oil price coming down. So here we have the paper price of silver, and during this week, these weeks, I went and spent a week with Brandon and Chris and Joe and Ilse. What an amazing team to spend time with. Some of you know them already, and they were just down-to-earth people. Slightly crazy, but that makes them more exciting. And we spent time during that time watching the market drop. And at that time, we discussed to try and get as much silver to affiliates as possible. So the affiliates were buying silver right in this period. Now, what happens in a situation like this is the silver cannot be mined at $11, $12, $13, $14. In fact, silver cannot be mined under $20, $25 an ounce. So most of the silver that's coming into the world at the moment is silver coming from stuff that's got silver in it, that's been recycled, like stuff with copper in. So a lot of it comes as a byproduct of other products, because the mines are not willing to mine silver under $20. So we are fortunate to get silver underneath a $20 price. And I'm going to show you some things. So after you folks, some of you got involved a few weeks ago, I had a guy phoning me. I phoned him and he said, I've got silver for you. You need to get silver now. And the silver coins were 400 Rand an ounce. And he phoned me back. He says, no, man, give me a better price. I can get it at 380 Rand an ounce. So I said, well, here's your opportunity. Take it or leave it. If you can find that silver, great stuff. I think he bought 13 or 18 coins from me. And he was still complaining about the price. Within a week, after this price dropped, this is the current price this morning on Bid or Buy. That's the cheapest you can buy a Kruger Rand for, 999 Rand. And there are, if you go and look how many are available, I'm sure if every one of us on this call bought, there wouldn't be any supply left, because this is the cheapest price that these people are selling silver for. So the price of silver at 999 Rand, what is the equivalent in dollar value? $52 an ounce, folks. That's the cheapest you can buy silver at the moment, silver coins. Isn't that crazy? $52 an ounce. So we've got a situation called supply and demand. If there's a demand and there's no supply, then the price goes up. So at least Brandon was clever enough to find a market for silver. Now you say, oh, well, I don't want granules or blah, blah, blah. All silver coin makers use granules to make their silver, because the granules are 99.999% pure silver. All silver is made of that. And some of the newer Kruger Rands, I believe, have got a small percentage of copper in. So they can add value to it by giving you a metal that's not even worth as much and hike the price. So we think we can get the price at $14. The South African price is at $52.20 at the moment. So we go back to that presentation I said with the half cup, and the half cup being at $70 an ounce. Guess what's going to happen when the exchanges open up again? The price is just going to hike and go up and up and up because there's a demand for silver. And the exciting thing of this is that Silver Chief has created such an awareness and a demand for silver that just the Silver Chief affiliates, 3,000 plus there are now, are going to drive the world market price to $150, $200 in no time. In other words, we are going to drive the price because all affiliates are going to start buying the silver. I had a guy phone me the week that we were really, I think Brandon was selling more than R1 million of silver a day. And that's a lot more silver than gold for what you get. And this guy bought 14,000 rands of silver, and he didn't even use a pay and clear, and he was on my case. When can I get my silver? When can I get my silver? When he showed me the silver that he got, the silver was all that he picked up was already worth double the price he paid for it. And if he had melted those into coins, it would have been 4 times the price. In other words, his 900 Rand coin, he would have had 4 times the price if he had melted all of that silver in. I mean, where do you get an investment at the right time, the right place at the right time? On bid or buy, the only people that sell silver granules is these guys. And their price is 13,000 Rand for a kilogram. So this is the exciting part, is that when you look at network marketing companies, and especially your nutrition marketing companies, all of their prices are double the price that they should ask because the affiliates need to split the 50% or the double the money that they're making on the product. And that's why some of the products are so way expensive that only the wealthy people can afford it. But here we have a company that is selling silver at less than the market price. The last time I got a price on silver was around 350 Rand an ounce. Now, this price here that we see here, 13,000 Rand for a kilogram, if you go and work it out, it's 418 Rand an ounce. That's the cheapest in South Africa at the moment, 418 Rand an ounce selling to the public. So when you come and ask for, oh, what's the spot price? You're not a dealer. Only the mint buys at spot price. They all add their commissions. South Africa, we also pay VAT on our silver, but we're still getting it cheaper than what the Americans are getting it for. So that is at 1 kilogram, it's $21, whereas the world price is $14, and people are buying this. All right, I didn't put in the slide about the American price, but the American price on their exchanges is now between $24 and $26 a coin. So the prices overseas are more expensive because the demand is high. All right, so us South Africans have scored by getting the granules. And if at some stage you want to make your own coins because you got your own business, or just you want to put your face on the coins, great stuff. Get a designer to design the coin, and these guys will melt it for you at X amount of Rand per coin, and you can then add value to the coin. When a jeweler buys these silver granules, he sells 1 kilogram of silver for R1 million because he's incorporated this in gold rings and added diamonds and all sorts. So jewelers will be buying from us in the future. We will have the market. All right, so why Silver Chief? So I'm become an affiliate, but I'm independent. What I'm saying to you is independent of what Brandon has already told you. These are the cheapest market prices. Granules are cheaper than coins. Granules are up to 30% cheaper than coins. So guess what? Buy granules. You cannot buy gold granules because gold has got embargoes on it and you can't export gold easily, especially Kruger Rands. There's so many rules on gold and that's why it's so expensive. If you go to a gold dealer with your gold, he's going to pay you spot price minus 20, 30%. So when there's no coins available, there's always granules, most of the time. What the nice thing is, if you have someone that buys silver through you, you make 10%. If you sign somebody up that buys silver underneath you, you still make 10%. And he still pays cheaper than the market price because Brandon has got a negotiation. He knows the people. So no, it's not who you are in life, it's who you know. And silver is way cheaper than gold. I mean, gold is overpriced at the moment, way over the market price. People walk in waltz with their gold to a dealer and they end up, because they paid 50, 60% above market price, the dealer gives them 20% below market price. I used to do this myself. I used to buy gold and sell gold. The dealer, if you're lucky and you have a huge amount of gold, he will then give you maybe 15% underneath spot. So it's a very good, safe game to be in silver. So this is one of the things that I'm very happy about Silver Chief, because not every one of you want to be an affiliate, marketer, blah, blah, blah. You can just be a customer. You can just order silver. And you need to understand that your South Africa, for every 100,000 you've got in the bank, it's only worth 70,000, 66,000 right now. And your 100,000 is going to be worth 50,000 by June. So, and then also Silver Chief has got, it's international now. People can sign up from all over the world and they can pay in Bitcoin. I think Brandon's got the Paygate finished and running, and then you get paid back via the channel that you agree on. You can network with it. Your silver is safe in the vault. So I had somebody ask me the other day, they said they're buying a lot of silver. You cannot buy silver granules in America, but they can buy it from South Africa. And then we can vault it for them and then ship it to them when they're ready for it to ship. Or they can just sell it. So if you say, I've got 10 kilograms of silver that I want to sell, you just put a note in, you can sell it and you will get spot price for the silver. And there's always somebody that wants to buy it from you. You can withdraw or fetch your silver upon arrangement. Look, with the current situation in the world and in the country, we know there are limitations to what you can do now traveling around. All right. So thank you very much. I hope you folks have seen the benefits of the market that we're in. And all of those of you, it was quite a few million rands worth of silver bought. All of you that bought silver in the last 2 weeks you can see the prices that they are in the market now. You can see the returns that you could have just sold it right now and you would make a profit on it. But this is going to be big. This is the second most important commodity in the world. Robert Kiyosaki said, gold is for kings, silver is for the rich. And this is true. You want to be rich, you buy something that has much more growth potential than gold. Gold will go up 25%, silver will go up 400% in the next few months. So that's my opinion, but that's my trading experience. I've seen in a short period of time how well silver has gone. I've been trading and teaching people to trade Bitcoin and altcoins, and some of them have done very well and some have not done very well because the market is volatile. Silver is at the bottom price now. It is very, very good place to buy. So I hope you folks have enjoyed your time and have learned something. We are going to post this on YouTube. We'll send the link so that you and all your friends can read and learn from the markets. And we'll keep you posted. Follow me on my channel if you don't see lots of myself. But thank you. Let's just get Brandon online again. Where are you, Brandon?
All right.
Okay, go.
All right. So, all right, guys. Reuel, thank you so much for that insightful talk that we just had right now. You know, we all have opinions. We all have our own views, but silver is real, and it will always be real, always be tangible. It will always be in your back pocket. For me personally, I told you that the next 6 to 7, 10 years are going to be a very, very, very interesting time. And I feel that we're going to see silver peak within 2 years of the absolute bottoming out, in 2 to 3, 4 years of absolute bottoming out um, of this crisis. So I just want to say for myself to all of you, we're not accredited with any FSCA, or we can't give investment advice, but we've been around, and I've done it for over a decade. And everything I've said up until now has become reality. Everything I've told you would happen has happened. Just prepare for the worst, prepare for your families, and just make sure that when we go through this, just spread this word to as many people as you can, because I feel that the world silver is going to be put into our hands now. And that's the vision and the goal for this company. Is I want you guys to have real value, real opportunity, and fight against what this world is designed to do, crush everyone's dreams. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it. Reuel, thank you for your time tonight and all the leaders that jumped on here.
Hi, guys.
Very insightful.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Brandon. For those of you who need information, my wife was just assisting tonight, Nelda. So if you need any more information, somebody invited you, and that person would be your sponsor, and that would be the person who give you more information. If you do contact us, we will then refer you to people that referred you. So don't think we're here to steal your that's not our job. So you folks have a great evening. And is anything else? You guys ask a question. I'm going to be on for a few minutes, and